Elon Musk gave a warning to the Western world about something many ignored: Filipinos. While much of the world focused on artificial intelligence, machines, and digital change, Musk noticed something else. As others worried about robots taking jobs, Musk looked at people. More specifically, he saw something special in the Filipino workforce. At a time when Silicon Valley and Wall Street were paying attention only to technology, Musk was trying to highlight the value of Filipino talent. He believed they could shape the future in ways that machines couldn't. But his warning was mostly ignored, until now. As industries struggle to stay efficient, more people are finally understanding what Musk tried to say. Why didn't they listen back then? And now that they are, is it too late? Let's look deeper into why Elon Musk believed Filipinos are a hidden force the West can't afford to miss. Imagine a world where powerful tech leaders didn't overlook a country's intelligence, creativity, and hard work. Elon Musk did just that. While others ignored or even laughed at the idea, he made a bold move. He saw something in the Philippines that no one else did. Now, the world is trying to catch up. So how did this all happen? How did the Philippines go from being underestimated to becoming one of Asia's fastest-growing economies? And how did Musk's early support for Filipino talent give him a big advantage over other tech giants like Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos? Elon Musk has always been ahead of the game. People laughed when he pushed electric cars with Tesla. They doubted him when he said SpaceX would change space travel using reusable rockets. But time after time, Musk proved them wrong. And now, his prediction about the Philippines may be one of his smartest. Back in the early 2010s, most tech companies were investing heavily in places like Silicon Valley and China. But Musk quietly looked elsewhere. He looked to the Philippines. It wasn't just about saving money or outsourcing tasks. He saw something deeper: a strong workforce full of engineers, problem solvers, and innovators. While most companies saw the Philippines as just a place for customer support, Musk saw tech potential. He needed great minds to build rockets at SpaceX and to innovate with AI at Tesla, and he believed he could find them in the Philippines. So why did the West ignore this? And now that people are starting to see the truth, can they still catch up? The Philippines had a rare mix of talent and untapped potential. For Musk, it wasn't just about business. It was about building the future. While others passed over the country, he saw a key player in the next wave of technology and innovation. He started including Filipino software engineers in important projects: AI, robotics, and automation. He also recognized another major advantage: the country's engineering talent. The kind of precise work needed in microelectronics wasn't just being done in Silicon Valley or China. It was also being done by brilliant minds in Philippine universities who were waiting for opportunities. While Zuckerberg was focused on social media algorithms and ad profits, Musk was busy launching rockets. In 2022, he took another big step by choosing the Philippines as one of the first Southeast Asian nations to get access to Starlink, his satellite internet service. This wasn't just about giving people faster internet, it was about opening doors. Many talented Filipinos couldn't take part in the global tech scene because of poor internet infrastructure. Musk saw this and decided to solve it. With Starlink, things began to change quickly. Filipino developers could now work with global teams without delay or disconnection. Data scientists in Manila could build AI models without worrying about losing their connection. Startups in Cebu could pitch investors through high-quality video calls. Musk didn't just see the Philippines as another cheap labor market. He saw a future tech hub. His investments weren't just about profit, they were about building something long-term. He believed in the Filipino people and their hunger for progress. And now, others are beginning to see what he saw all along. For years, the West relied on IQ tests and flawed data to decide which countries had the smartest people. These rankings often put the Philippines below places like Japan, China, or South Korea, reinforcing a false idea that Filipinos weren't as smart. The world believed this without asking questions. But the truth is, intelligence isn't just about test scores. IQ tests don't measure resilience, the ability to rise above challenges. They don't capture creativity or the ability to think differently with fewer resources. And they don't reflect adaptability, the power to learn fast and adjust quickly. These are exactly the strengths of the Filipino workforce. Yet the West ignored these traits. They looked at test scores instead of real skills. Meanwhile, Musk didn't care about scores. He looked at results. And the results were clear. Filipino programmers were solving problems in Silicon Valley. Filipino engineers were working on SpaceX projects. Filipino doctors were leading in robotic surgery and telemedicine. Even though they came from a country labeled low IQ, these professionals weren't just holding their own, they were outperforming many of their global peers. As the world finally starts to pay attention, one thing is clear. Elon Musk saw the future, and the Philippines was in it. Now the same investors who once overlooked Filipino talent are scrambling to hire it. Countries that once dismissed the Philippines are now studying its education system, trying to understand how it produced such brilliant minds. Musk saw what others didn't. The question now is, can the rest of the world catch up? People are starting to see something they never expected. Maybe the American dream doesn't live in America anymore. When Trump made a comment praising the Filipino work ethic and their strength during tough times, he might not have realized he was pointing out something uncomfortable. A truth that hits home. Americans are slowly losing something important. Grit. The drive to work hard without complaining. The ability to push through challenges without falling apart. Filipinos still have that. They know how to hustle, support each other, and keep smiling even when life isn't easy. It's more than just a strong work ethic. It's a culture that puts people before politics, where family means more than just a yearly Thanksgiving dinner filled with awkward silence and backhanded comments. But it's not only about values. It's about how people live day to day. In America, many people are exhausted just trying to survive. You work long hours, stress constantly, and barely have time to breathe. In the Philippines, it's different. You can work online, live in a modern apartment for a fraction of what it costs in the US, and still have time left over to enjoy your life. Picture this. It's a Tuesday afternoon, and instead of being stuck in traffic on a freeway or sitting through endless meetings, you're at the beach. The sun is setting, you've got a cold drink in hand, and fresh mangoes on your plate. Maybe later you hop on a scooter and ride through mountain roads, just because you can. Try pulling that off in Los Angeles without spending half your paycheck and most of your sanity. And here's the part that's really turning heads. Your money actually goes further, much further. In the US, $1,000 barely covers rent. In the Philippines, it can completely change your lifestyle. That amount can get you a nice place, good food, reliable transportation, and even some fun on the weekends. Eating out isn't just a luxury, it's part of daily life. You're not barely making it, you're thriving. Transportation? Super cheap. Entertainment? Everywhere and affordable. Beaches? Honestly, they could be reason enough to pack your bags. Some of the world's best beaches are in the Philippines, and you don't have to spend a fortune to enjoy them. But it's not just the cost of living that's drawing people in, it's the way Filipinos treat others. In many countries, foreigners are seen mostly as a source of money. Not here. In the Philippines, you're welcomed like a neighbor. People smile at you, they greet you, they ask how you are, and actually care about the answer. There's a sense of real community, something that's been disappearing in the US, where more people are glued to their phones, avoiding eye contact, and feeling increasingly alone. While America is stuck in constant arguments, fueled by politics, outrage, and division, Filipinos are out living their lives. They're working hard, yes, but they're also laughing, connecting, and finding joy in everyday moments. They're not obsessed with cancel culture, internet drama, or who offended who this week. They're too busy enjoying what they have and making the most of it. That's what really made Trump's comment stand out. It wasn't just about Filipinos being strong, it was about what Americans might be missing. Somewhere along the way, the US traded joy for hustle, community for competition, and purpose for politics. And people feel it. Deep down, they know something's off. That's why many Americans are leaving, not because they want to make a political statement or run away from home, but because life in the Philippines just makes sense. You work less, live more, and despite earning less, you actually feel richer. You feel human again. For those still waiting for the American dream to return to what it once was, hoping it will magically fix itself, well, good luck. But for everyone else, the Philippines is sitting here quietly, not bragging, not begging, just offering something simple. A good life. No drama, no stress, just real, meaningful living. And as more Americans wake up to this, the big question becomes, what's keeping you there? If you could trade stress and noise for peace and connection, why wouldn't you? There's something poetic about it. Americans leaving behind their own chaos to find peace in a country they once overlooked. A country that still believes in community, hard work, and living with joy. And maybe, just maybe, that's where the real dream has been hiding all along. People are moving. Not because they're being forced to, but because they want to. After years of dealing with sky-high rent, endless workdays, and the fear that they might never be able to retire, many Americans have finally come to a powerful realization. Life doesn't have to be so hard. It can actually be good. It can be calm. It can even be fun. And when that truth hits, it feels like being smacked in the face with a fresh lumpia. Sudden, surprising, and oddly satisfying. This shift in thinking isn't just about old war history or the search for cheaper living. It's something deeper, something bigger. People are starting to rethink their place in the world and what kind of life they really want. The American dream used to be simple. Work hard, buy a home, raise a family, and enjoy a peaceful retirement. It made sense. But now, that dream feels like a joke. People work longer hours just to stay afloat, taxes keep rising, and by the time they're finally able to retire, their health is already declining. It's no wonder people are quietly looking for the exit. The system feels broken, and many are done pretending it's working. That's where the Philippines comes in. It's not selling a dream because it doesn't have to. The dream already exists here. You just have to see it. Is it perfect? No place is. But there's something special about how life flows here. The pace is slower, the air lighter, and the smiles more frequent. People don't rush through their days, they enjoy them. Mornings aren't for chaos. They're for sipping coffee with loved ones. Meals aren't eaten on the go. They're shared with family and laughter. Life isn't about how much you own, but how well you live. For Americans who have spent years trapped in the rat race, that kind of freedom feels unreal. But it's real, and it's pulling people in fast, especially retirees. Folks who worked for decades just to barely get by back home are shocked when they realize their pension goes so much further here. They're not just surviving, they're finally living. Instead of budgeting every penny to afford food in some quiet, overpriced American suburb, they're relaxing with a fresh coconut on a beach in Cebu. Instead of watching their cities get swallowed up by tech millionaires and housing investors, they're living in modern high-rise condos for less than what they paid for electricity back in California. And it's not just older people making the move. Young professionals, freelancers, entrepreneurs, they're all coming too. Remote work has opened a door, and people are realizing they don't need to stay tied to a tiny apartment in the US just to do their job. As long as there's decent Wi-Fi, they can work from anywhere. So, why not take video calls from a rooftop cafe with an ocean view instead of a gray cubicle with fluorescent lights? But this change isn't only about money or better scenery. It's about something even more important: human connection. The kind that's been slowly disappearing from American life. Walk through many neighborhoods in the US these days and it's like no one's home. People don't look up, don't say hello, don't even seem present. It's become a place full of ghosts, where conversations feel like business deals and neighbors are more like strangers. Everyone's rushing, everyone's stressed, and joy feels like a thing of the past. Now contrast that with the Philippines. It's the opposite here. Walk down the street and people smile at you, not because they want anything, but just because that's how they are. Ask someone how they're doing, and they'll actually stop, smile, and tell you. There's a real warmth here, a kind of genuine happiness that doesn't come from wealth or luxury. It comes from people appreciating life, even in its simple form. And for Americans used to being surrounded by frustration and isolation, that warmth is everything. It reminds them of what they've lost, and more importantly, what they can still find. The truth is, something has shifted. It's not about escaping America or running from problems. It's about choosing peace over pressure, connection over competition, a full life instead of a fast one. People aren't just chasing cheap rent or pretty beaches. They're chasing meaning, a life that feels whole, a place where family still matters, where mornings don't start with dread, where people remember how to live and help you remember too. As more Americans wake up to that truth, the choice becomes clear. Stay in a system that drains you or move to a place that fills you back up. More and more Americans are discovering a surprising truth. Life doesn't have to be so hard. Tired of the pressure, loneliness, and never-ending grind in the U.S., they're finding peace, purpose, and connection in an unexpected place, the Philippines. And once they experience this shift, going back to the old life feels impossible. In the Philippines, there's a different energy. The people aren't rushing, competing, or constantly proving something. They live simply, with kindness and joy. When Americans arrive, they're not met with flashing lights or desperate marketing. The country doesn't scream for attention. It quietly welcomes you. And that quiet is powerful. One of the biggest surprises for many American men, especially those tired of the emotional roller coaster of dating back home, is the way relationships work here. Dating in the US can feel like a confusing game with ever-changing rules, where people are constantly keeping score. But in the Philippines, relationships feel honest, warm, and real. Filipino women often approach love with affection, loyalty, and a desire to build something lasting, not to compete, but to grow together. Marriage isn't seen as a legal checkbox, but as a caring partnership. That simplicity is life-changing for people who've spent years in the emotional chaos of Western dating. Suddenly, it's not about who earns more or who wins. It's about mutual respect and enjoying each other's company. And for many, that's enough to make them stay for good. But it's not just dating. Once people get a taste of life in the Philippines, peaceful mornings, friendly neighbors, a slower pace, they start questioning everything they used to accept as normal. Working 60-hour weeks, constant bills, loneliness, and stress start to seem like a bad dream. Why did they ever believe they had to wait until retirement to enjoy life, if they even made it that far? This awakening is more than a travel trend. It's a movement. People aren't just vacationing here. They're relocating, rethinking, and rebuilding. They're choosing themselves for the first time. They're realizing that the American dream, once so powerful, now feels like a weight. A race they didn't sign up for. A century ago, moving from America to the Philippines would have seemed unthinkable. America was where people went to chase dreams. But the world has changed. Now it's Americans who are looking for meaning and quality of life in the very place many Filipinos once left behind. The script has flipped. This shift isn't just about affordable living or escaping politics. It's about reconnecting with humanity. In the US, life feels rushed and cold. People walk past each other without making eye contact. Conversations are rare, and meaningful moments are constantly interrupted by screens and stress. But in the Philippines, people still smile at strangers, gather for meals, and live with presence. That human warmth is something Americans haven't felt in a long time. Work culture is another big contrast. In the US, hustle is glorified. Burnout is seen as proof of ambition. But in the Philippines, work is only one part of life. There's time for family, community, rest, and laughter. That balance isn't just refreshing, it's healing. Then there's the money side. In cities like Cebu or Davao, people live in modern condos with ocean views, eat out regularly, and hire help around the house, often for less than the cost of a small U.S. apartment. Remote workers are realizing they don't need to be chained to expensive American cities. With good Wi-Fi and a laptop, they can do their jobs in paradise and finally breathe again. When basic living stops being a financial struggle, everything changes. You stop stressing over groceries, bills, and surprise costs. You sleep better. You laugh more. You live. Even food becomes something different. In the US, meals are often rushed or eaten alone in a car. But in the Philippines, food is joy. It's an experience. Fresh seafood, rich flavors, shared meals, and long conversations around the table. People cook with heart, eat with family, and create memories over dinner. It's not just what's on the plate, it's the connection around it. That's what keeps pulling people in, the feeling of being human again. Life here isn't a race, it's a dance. It has rhythm, space, and heart. There's laughter, purpose, and community. In the US, life often feels like something to survive. In the Philippines, life feels like something to enjoy. And it's not about escaping problems. It's about choosing a better way. One where you don't have to wait until you're old to live well. One where you can smile, rest, and be seen, not just for your job title or income, but for who you are. Americans are waking up to this truth. They're not chasing paradise. They're seeking peace. And they're finding it in a country that still believes in the power of simple joys and real connection.